Well, thank you for coming on my show. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Riachi, for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
Yes, what can you tell everyone about yourself?
Well, I am both an actress and a director, and I have produced a couple films that I'm very proud of. Basically, I'm an artist, I think is like generally what we could say. And so I'd love to share some of my work with you, talk about it. Thank you for having me.
Yes, please do. Let's talk about your work. You're a film director and you're an actress, and of course, you were in the 2022 The Legacy, and you played Reese. Is that correct?
Richie, but yeah,
Reese, sorry.
yeah, it's fine. It's
And
good.
what can you tell everyone about this film?
Well, The Legacy is really a mystery horror film. It talks about the legacy of a demon called Breenod.
Hmm.
Breenod is a demon who he kind of gets into people's souls, and he focuses on torturing things like that. So the movie itself revolves around several women, including myself, Ricci, who are pulled into a house to try to overcome the effects that this demon had on us. So it's really, I'm kind of the mystery character, which is really, really cool. And I evolve throughout the film, which I love about the character itself. I play the artist who hides her identity.
Oh, wow. And where can people watch the film?
So this film is available on several platforms, but mainly it's available on Tubi TV,
Hmm.
and it's available on Amazon on Prime Video where you can rent or buy it. And I just would love for people to watch it because it's a wonderful film. It's written by Rod Smith, and he's a great writer. He likes to make a lot of twists and turns in films, and so you kind of really don't know what's happening until the very end, which is very cool.
Oh, that's awesome. And then, of course, before we go more into details, what made you want to be a director?
Well, I think that the fact that going into acting, you start seeing and producing, you start seeing the behind the scenes of everything that goes on, and you start thinking of different ways of doing things, and you get a lot of different ideas. So I think as a director, you're kind of in charge of many different aspects of the production. It's more about creating that atmosphere of how you want people to view the film. The writer, you bring the writers. You kind of bring the writer's story to life, but then you put your own twist on it, which I think is very, very cool. I just get really excited when I read a script and you kind of you kind of feel like, okay, I could do something really cool with this. I think as a director, you have the opportunity to put your stamp on it.
Hmm.
And as a female director, I think it's really interesting because this is like a new thing where there's more and more female directors, and I feel that it's wonderful to get the female version of what a horror film would be, or any film, because I just love
Hmm.
film in general.
That's true. And what have you noticed in the entertainment industry, um, example wise, like female directors out there?
Well, I think that there are a lot more female directors. I'm really excited to kind of join in a small way into that group. I think that their viewpoints are very unique, and I think that that stamp that they're putting on things, I think that they I see a lot of like the costuming, the different aspects of the film itself, and kind of like the dramatic aspects of it are slightly different than it would be with males. And I think that it's good to have both male and female. I just think that it's good to have different points of views. um, I just believe it's a wonderful thing that females are getting more involved in film, because I think we have our own viewpoint, and now we get a chance to kind of display that more.
That's
Um,
good.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
I love Sofia Coppola, by the way. She's great. I love watching her films, and I do see it's a little bit different than other films, and I love that about her. So she's one of my favorites.
Yeah, same here. She's one of my favorites as well. And um, I've seen a lot of her work, and it's hard for me to describe it, but I love it.
Yeah, no, she's great. She always goes in different, unique directions that one wouldn't
Hmm.
imagine. So I love it. Yeah,
And
so I think as a director, it's just I also have that personality where I like to work with people. I like to work around people. And being a director gives you that opportunity to work hand one on one with people and be able to kind of like not only put your stamp on it, but also get their feedback. And each actor has a unique way of doing things. So when you choose an actor, you're actually choosing kind of the evolution of the character itself that
Hmm.
is within that. So you've got the script, but then the script takes on a different life when you choose different people to play that role.
That's true, 100%. Um, of course, you played in The Sins of Mother, and you
Yes.
played Terry.
Yes.
And where can people see that?
They can also see that on Tubi TV and Amazon Prime Video. It's available for rent or buy. And that was a movie that I actually directed as well. So that was a very unique opportunity for me. And I loved it because I played the mother and at the same time directing. It's a very interesting kind of dynamic when you're actually in the film. So a lot goes on before the scenes because you have to prepare with the other actors before since you're going to be in the film as well.
Hmm. Yeah, I noticed you directed that film, and I saw the trailer. You did really good.
Thank you so much,
You're very
Nicholas.
welcome. And now, of course, in 2017, you were, it was a TV show, but if I'm saying it wrong, please correct me. Long Mary?
Longmire? Yeah, it's a
Yes.
series.
And you were in season 6, episode 7.
Yes.
And I noticed there's a lot of um A-list actors on that show, and some A-list actors and some not A-list actors. But how did you get that role?
Well, what you do is basically you go through an agent and then they send out your information and they're looking for certain looks and certain kind of unique I guess like physical traits and that type of thing. And so I think I fit the profile, but there were a lot of people when we got there, and even then they kind of chose who they wanted to be in the film. So it was really interesting. Like you said, there were a lot of great actors involved. And I got a chance to actually be around them because during lunch and things like that, you get to eat and you see them there, and it's very very cool. But working in a big production like that is so different than like the small productions that we produced because they've got like the huge studios and they've got I mean everything set up. So it's fun. I could tell you that much. It's a lot of fun to be in a big production like that as well. I think they both have their unique and wonderful things. Like the small
Hmm.
productions you get a chance to more and the big productions you get a chance to see, you know, all the things that they're doing and they have a lot of people involved. So it's wonderful both ways. Yeah. Um, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was an all day thing, even though you a lot of waiting around until it's your turn. They do your hair, they do your makeup. That part is a lot of fun too. But you get a chance to really watch and see what's going on in these big productions. And that's what I really loved about it. I watched and I was just like really looking at everything, watching the director, seeing how they handle things. So it's a lot of learning, I think, when you're there and if you are watching, you can learn a lot from them.
That's true, 100%. Now let's go into details. What have you noticed that's the most challenging aspect of being in entertainment industry?
I think one of the most challenging aspects is that you're not always busy. It kind of lulls, it goes up and down. And I think that that can be very challenging for people because people get discouraged, especially as
Hmm.
actors. We go through a lot of times where it's very slow and then something comes up and then you audition and sometimes you get the role and sometimes you don't get the role. And I think that as actors you just always have to be very positive and optimistic because it's many times it's not about you, it's that they're looking for a certain character, they're looking for a certain personality, they're looking for a certain look, and it's not that you weren't good enough, it's just that you didn't fit whatever it is that the producers were looking for. um, and I think that's the hardest part for actors especially because it can be very discouraging. You have to keep on fighting. It's like fighting an uphill battle.
Right. And how do you for yourself, and what can you tell other people about auditions? Because auditions hard, right? You're being turned down, you may get it, you've been denied. For you, and what's your advice for other people out there? How do you handle it? How do you try to forget about it or something? I'm trying to find the right word.
Yeah, I think that you take an audition as a learning opportunity. You take it almost as a class where you say, I'm going to learn this, I'm gonna do the best that I can, and it's gonna be as if I'm on set. So if you take it kind of as a class, like an internal class for yourself, let's say you didn't get it, you cannot take it personally. You have to focus on the next thing that's coming up
Hmm.
because there's time for that. And I think that for maybe other actors who feel discouraged, I think it's okay to be discouraged because that's part of, that's human nature, but just be discouraged for a second and then move on to the next thing because it just meant that there's something else out there for you.
That's true. I like that advice. I appreciate it. Um,
Yeah, I think that that's the positivity aspect of it. I think is really important as an actor.
100%. I know I'm mixing some questions in this, but um, more about you. What age did you realize this is my passion? I want to be an actress. Then I want to be a director. As your young self, what made you do this? What made you go into this passion?
Yes. So what I can tell you is that at the age of 10, I mean, maybe even 7, I would watch movies and for some reason, I wanted to be in them. Like I would think I can play that role. I don't know what it was. And I was so little, and none of my family, they're not into acting, they're all, more of like the professional kind of fields. So for me, it was like I would just watch a film, and as I was watching it, could always relate to the characters and say like, oh, I wish I was playing that role. I would say that my first inkling was maybe 7 to 10 years old. And then when I was 13, I did a commercial for Polaroid. It was like Polaroid International. And
Hmm.
I loved it. I just loved everything about it. So I would say very, very young, except I decided to go into economics because that's kind of like where my family was more inclined for me to go. And I've always liked school. Well, I used to. I don't know anymore because I'm not in school anymore. But I always liked school, and I was relatively good at all the subjects. So it was kind of like more of like let's pick what I want to study. And so I studied economics, and I love it. But I didn't love it as much as I do the idea of acting and the acting itself, and being in a production. In terms of being a director, I hadn't really thought about that until I started acting and I started
Hmm.
seeing what the directors do. And I started feeling like, again, getting that yearning of, oh my God, I would love to do it. So it's more of like an internal yearning that you just want to do it, like you feel like you have to.
Wow. And so that, are you the only child?
No, I have 4 siblings. Oh no, I have 3 siblings. I'm one of 4. I feel like I have 4 siblings. No, I have 3 siblings. I have a sister who studied psychology. I have a brother who studied economics also, and I think that's why I went to econ because I saw him studying it. And I was like, oh yeah, I can do that. And then I have another brother who studied law, but he studied law in my family's from Ecuador, so he studied civil law, not common law, which is different than over here. So he's a lawyer in Ecuador. And so, we had kind of like the gamut. My mom was a nurse. So it was kind of like um,
Hmm.
not in the field at all. My dad is also a lawyer, civil law. And so it was really different for me to go into this field. And I think that's one of the reasons I kind of like thought, well, I really love it, but maybe I should do something that I feel is more practical. When in reality, I went back to what I really love later in life when I realized, you know what? I did well in economics. I love it. I love the people I worked with, but now I'm going to go back to what I had wanted to do since I was a child.
And what made you, well, not that, I mean, correction. How did your family react when said you want to be an actress?
Honestly, I don't think that they really, I think they thought it was maybe just like, a passing thing. But when they saw that I was really dedicated to it and that I'm not going to give it up, then they were like, oh, you know, whatever you want to do is fine.
Hmm.
They're very supportive now. Um, I just remember the first time recently when I got back into acting, a director came up to me. I was in a at a hotel here in New Mexico, and he said, "Hey, do you want to be? We need people for to be in this film. Do you want to be in it?" And I was there, and I was like, "Yes, I do." It was just really strange because out of nowhere, we were walking by. I was with my parents, and my parents were really excited too because we all got to be in the film. They needed people to be in the film, and the fact that he came up to me, I took it as a sign, and I was like, you know what, I'm going back to this. I'm going back to what I love.
Well, that's good. Now, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I think in 5 years I see myself acting, but I see myself really going into directing more as well because I feel like that's you know something a little bit more stable because the acting right now I love it. I think there's just um it's a lot harder now than it used to be. And so if the opportunity presents itself, I will stay in acting until I die, I think. Doing something involved with
Hmm.
acting. But I think that going into the producing and the directing is a really great opportunity if I'm given that opportunity in the future. So,
That's amazing. And what's
yeah.
your any upcoming projects you're going to direct?
We have a few projects that we're working on. So, Minions of Abaddon is one of the projects we're considering, we're working on. Um, that project I would be acting and directing. And so that would be a really cool idea. But if we don't do that one, we have some other ideas that one is a horror film, but we have other ideas that are also more kind of like action based. So we're going to maybe be making a shift to action mystery, and I think that's going to be a really cool shift for us because we notice there's great horror films out there, but there are a lot of them. So people have
Hmm.
so much, you don't get that much visibility anymore with horror because there's so many, which is wonderful. But at the same time, as a producer, you really need your films to be seen. So
And do you like to make horror films?
we've made Sins of the Mother and The Legacy. So I would say, but they're horror mysteries. So they're not like the gruesome, which I actually do enjoy. When you're in the mood of like, let's watch, Friday the 13th, let's watch. I think they're fun. The ones we've made are more of mystery.
Hmm.
But I think that we want to move more into kind of like the action, mystery, and a little bit of drama as well. So we're going to be making a little bit of a shift in the future.
That's good. And how about your acting career? Any upcoming projects other than the ones you're directing?
I do. I have several projects. Let me actually make sure that I touch all the bases on those. Um, the
The
first
ones that
one,
you're allowed to talk about. I know you can't probably talk about some of them because I understand.
yeah, I'm just going to talk maybe about one that I'm really excited about. It's called Hellcatchers,
Hmm.
and um, the director is Everett Hartso, and he is just great. He is basically he's written a story about two girls with supernatural abilities, and I would play what my character would be the detective that kind of comes into play with all this, and I love the idea of playing a detective. So I'm just really excited about it. I'm very very excited about that character.
And when is it coming out?
Well, he's going to be filming sometime this year, and
Hmm.
I assume when it comes out, when it gets filmed, and when it comes out are kind of like it depends because you can film it in parts. So I'm assuming it would be out probably next year, or you know who knows, but it would be after it's filmed. The editing does take a little bit of time.
Oh, wow, I can't wait to see it.
Thank
Um,
you so
you
much.
know, so you said we talked about auditions. What is your advice for anybody out there, younger age or any age, who wants to get into acting? What's your advice?
I think I have a few things to say about it. For one, I would say get an agent, but also do your own work. Look for work on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you can, and audition as much as you can because it's practice. Whether you get it or not, aim to get the role. Yes, absolutely. But then if you don't get the role, don't be discouraged because you got a chance to practice a new character. You got a chance to do something that you
Hmm.
hadn't done in the past. So I would say that just take the auditions as an opportunity to do what you love, which is
Hmm.
acting. and see it as that opportunity that once you brought all of yourself to it, if it fit the profile, great. If it didn't, go on to the next time, the next audition, which gives you another opportunity to practice a different character. And I would say just, focus more on the psychology of the characters and, trying different character out and see what you like. And don't focus so much on whether I got the role or not, even though it is wonderful when you get the role and it is great. But it's not, you sometimes, it takes a long time to get to what, where you're going to be hired. Sometimes people do great comedy. Sometimes people do great drama. So you kind of have to test it all out to see where you fit in.
Right. And
So
also,
yeah.
do you believe in going to school for acting is important?
Oh, well, yes and no. I think for some people, the good thing about being an artist is that artistry, there's so many different, it feels like there's so many different paths that lead you to the same direction. I don't feel like you have to go to school, but I feel like in some ways it does help because it gets you to practice more. When you're in class and you're around other people, you get to watch them and then you get to practice yourself.
Hmm.
So I would encourage people to definitely do it. I think it's important to take classes. I think it's important to basically practice. Some people are very self-motivated and they can just, practice on their own and they can, but I would say, yeah, it's very important to take courses because you learn from people who have experience and who have been doing this for a really long time. And that's priceless.
Well, that's good. I totally agree with you. Now, what was the most difficult role you ever played?
I think the most difficult roles that I've played, probably the one in Sins of the Mother,
Hmm.
because with horror, the roles tend to be very extreme. They're not like they're not muffled. And it took me I when I got into the character, I was like by the time I was done with the scenes that were really intense, I was completely drained. Even when I was practicing, I was completely drained. I was like, okay, I can't do this scene more than a few times because it sucks the life out of you if you're really in it. And with horror, it's very extreme. So you're actually taking it up a notch instead of what people usually do with drama and all these other films where you're actually taking it down a notch and you're trying to be like just really natural. So I just felt like with horror, that particular character was very draining, but it was very different. I played someone who had was a little bit psychotic or kind of borderline psychotic.
Hmm.
So you see her and you realize something's not right. Something's a little off about her. And hopefully I'm not like that in real life. But so it took me to I had to be a totally different person. I had a
Right.
friend who told me I had to play a really mean mom. Like there was a scene where I had to be really awful to my daughter. And my friend was like, "Oh my God, how did you do that?" And I said, "It was hard. It was hard because it's not me, but when
Right.
it's not you, it's someone else. You take on a different character."
And so how do you get your mindset? I don't when they say cut, how do you get yourself out of character?
So there are different methodologies. Some of the methodologies is you just stay in character, and you've seen some actors that do that. They're on set and they're that character throughout they just don't get out of character. Um, but I would say that for me, I just need a moment to really when you're like before I just need some quiet time to get into the character, think about it, think about her background, to
Hmm.
get into her. And then by the time you're done, you still have the adrenaline going and you still have like those feelings of that character. So you kind of have to let go. Depending on whether you have another scene, you kind of want to stay in it. But if you are done for the day, you have to learn to let it go and just relax.
Right.
Calm your mind because it is very it takes a lot of psychological energy out of you. And I think that's harder than if you like were working out or something. At least for me, I feel like it's very draining, but it's wonderful at the same time.
100%. I totally agree with you. And then what do you believe is the most challenging aspect of being an actress?
The most challenging aspect. Hmm. I think maybe it's the fact that you have a lot of downtime and it's not as consistent as you want it to be. That's very
Mm.
challenging. And then the other challenging aspect is that the learning never ends. you have to keep on studying no matter what. Like it, there's to play all the characters in the world. We don't even have enough lifetimes to do that. So I would say it's challenging to just keep on going, keep on going, keep on going, even if you're not working, to keep on moving forward. Because it's a lot of self motivation. You're not in school where someone says, okay, read these chapters and then you're going to be tested on this.
Hmm.
It's more of like, okay, I have to continue doing this. Like, I have to motivate myself. I can't stop. I have to keep going because something is around the corner. You always have to feel like something's around the corner. So self motivation.
Sorry, my house phone is going off. What is your short-term goal?
My short-term goal, I think my short-term goal is to do some more acting, just play different characters. Uh, that is my short-term goal for sure because I love acting. I do it. People do it for different reasons. I do it
Hmm.
because I love it. That's the bottom line. I love it. You know, you give me a character and I love taking on that character, especially if it's someone that is not like me,
Hmm.
because then I love it more because it pushes me to be something that I'm not. And it's almost like you get a chance to live a different life.
And what is your long-term goal?
My long-term goal, I love the acting, so I want to continue doing that, but I would say directing, producing, that's something that I'm really looking forward to in the future.
And so, do you see yourself moving to LA or New York or?
I've lived in Los Angeles. I actually went to school in Los Angeles. I graduated from high school there, and I went to UCLA. So I know how it is to live there, and I loved it. I love LA, but I feel like now with the new way that the industry is moving, film industry, and movies, you can live anywhere. As long as you're willing to travel, you can live anywhere. And a lot of people are moving out of LA. You know, have a lot of people going to Vegas, Las Vegas, Nevada. You have people in New Mexico. You have people in different, in
And do
different
you,
parts of the country who are traveling to for work. So
pardon me, do you believe that's good that it's changing, or do you think it's bad?
I think I'm actually neutral to it because I feel like it's evolving. So I feel
Hmm.
like it's kind of just this evolution of um, now we have the internet, so everyone you have more access to jobs.
Hmm.
So I feel like it's just part of the times. So I would say it's just part of the times. It's just what's happening, and you kind of as an actor have to evolve with the times. You can't
Hmm.
stay thinking, oh, it's going to be this way or that way. You just kind of have to blow with the punches. But if there is an opportunity in LA and would have to move there, I would do it. I've
And
lived
I
in LA
know,
before. I love it. I have friends there. In New York, the same. I lived in New Jersey when I was little, so I love New York.
and the one thing I will say about the entertainment industry is you're right. You can be anywhere,
Yeah,
Arizona, Phoenix,
yeah,
Albuquerque, Texas,
exactly,
that's the
exactly.
one thing about it.
You have to be willing to be flexible, I think, nowadays, as opposed to just being in one place.
That's 100% true. I noticed in Albuquerque, the film industry is growing. You got the Netflix studio there, I believe. Um,
Yeah, yes,
so it's growing. That's the one thing amazing about the film industry. And it helps the people in the community. If they want to be into acting, they can go there and audition and do roles, and they don't have to worry about going anywhere else. So,
yes, yes.
and that's the one thing. So, what do you believe that in the future that what we were talking about when everybody's moving around, you don't have to worry about going to Hollywood for acting, is that do you believe that there will be no more I shouldn't be saying this, but it's coming out. Do you believe there will be no more Hollywood?
I think there's always going to be Hollywood. I don't know. I think that the things that they've done there, you can't erase the past. Hollywood is Hollywood. It's a wonderful place. I think that it's just growing. It's not
Hmm.
like getting rid of Hollywood, it's just growing. And I see it more as a progression, like a progress. Like there's progress, not that it's shifting. Hollywood's still going to have stuff going on. There's still going to be lots. It's just going to be in more places than just there. But yeah, no, like I said, I love Los Angeles. I love Hollywood. So Either
Me
way,
too.
where I love it there. Yeah, I mean, I lived there for quite some
Because
time.
when you're a young child, trying to become an actor, an actress, and director, you always think about Hollywood and California. You're like, I gotta be in LA. I gotta be there. Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I just think that that idea is actually a very cool idea for people to have because it sometimes that motivates people to want to become actors and go into the industry. So I think whatever motivates people, and also you can't get rid of what Hollywood is. Hollywood has been staple forever, and I think it's still, they might not be doing as much stuff there as they were in the past, but they're still gonna be doing stuff
Mm-hmm.
there. Yeah.
100%, 100%. Who's the most funniest person on cast?
On which cast are the ones that we've done?
Yeah, in the future, but now ones who've done.
Oh, well, I would say it gets really serious on set, but I think that the funniest, my husband's pretty funny, and he's been on set, and he actually wrote both films, and he's really funny.
Hmm.
He can turn it on, the funny on and off. Like for example, he's if we say cut, he'll start joking around, and I'm still in character, and I'm thinking like, what's going on here? But he's really great. He brings a lot of like happiness to the set, and he can chit chat about anything. And the moment he's like, okay, we say action, he's like he does camera work, so he like gets on, and it's kind of interesting because he can go in and out, and he's joking all the time with
So your
everyone.
husband's an actor.
No, he's a writer and cinematographer,
Hmm.
and he's directed as well. So
Wow. So if
yeah.
you mind me asking, how did you guys meet?
Actually, we met because there was a film that he was making, and I actually auditioned and I got the role for one of the films, and then that's how we met.
So
Yeah,
if you,
the beginning.
I'm not trying to get into personal space, but if you mind me asking, was it you who approached him, or was it or
You know
him?
what? I started taking classes with him, and it just evolved. I would say it was something that was mutual because we I started taking classes, and when you are one on one talking to someone, you really get to know them.
Hmm.
And one of the things that really attracted me to him is his personality. He has a wonderful personality. So when you get to know someone, when you're like, talking on the phone and asking them for, different things, what do they think about this? So we developed a friendship, a really strong friendship before anything. And his personality and who he is as a person is what attracted me most to him. And his
Hmm.
positivity, and he's just such a great guy. You know,
Amazing.
yeah. So
Did he think that, oh, maybe she might be the one?
I don't know. We're gonna have to ask him. I have no idea. All I know is like we would have great conversations, over the phone too. Like we would talk for hours, and it would just be like talking about film, talking about this. We had a lot of things in common that
Hmm.
we enjoyed, and I think that commonality really helped us too in realizing
And
that we're
did
made
you,
for each other.
that's a question we have to ask him. My next last question about, I'm sorry, is that did you ever saw yourself having a relationship, getting married with someone in the same industry as you?
I never thought about it that way. I really didn't. It was just
Hmm.
I didn't think about that at the time. Now I realize that it really helps if we kind of have the same goals in mind.
Hmm.
So I think that it worked out really nicely without me having planned it, because we have a lot. Like I said, we have a lot in common, and we have a lot of the same ideas. And at the end of the day, if we had both had to give up film because we had to be together, we would probably do that because we love each other so much.
Hmm.
So,
And do you,
yeah,
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead and continue.
no, you're fine.
Oh, no, no, because I didn't mean to cut you off because most actors and actresses who've been on my show, they have been they're married couple or they're married, but one person's acting and the other person's like, I never got into it. And so it's like that's why I was just curious, it's
Oh, my husband never wants to act. He hates it. He hates acting. He hates acting. Absolutely hates acting. Well, he did a little bit of acting and he hated it. Like he did try it like once and he hated it. So this is definitely a unique thing where I'm the actress and he doesn't want anything to do with acting at
Mhm.
all.
And are you does he when you're directing your film, when you're making your film, is he also there recording and everything?
Yeah, he's been doing the cinematography for it, and it's something that I think, I believe he's really, really good at. He's very artistic.
Hmm.
So I think it's great working with him because he has not only did he write it, but he can do the cinematography, so he helps bring it to life. And it's really hard to do, to do the cinematography, I believe, because you're trying to bring someone else's vision to life, you're trying
Hmm.
to bring the script to life, and there's so many ways of doing that. But I think he's very good at what he does, so he's excellent. So I think it's a perfect match. It's a match made in heaven.
It's amazing. And so, what is your dream directing film like?
I've never said this before, like openly, but I love period pieces. I just do. And maybe one day, and I have this idea in my head of something I want to write, but it's definitely something that I have thought about in the past. Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
And
I'm talking about like Middle Ages. I'm talking about like
mhm,
not, not like in 1900s or, even prior to. So
wow. And one thing about film directors and actors is that in talk shows is that we're telling people's stories, and that's the thing. Even you're like making horror movies, but if you're not making horror movies and you're making a film or a TV show based on someone's real life, or you're telling people stories out there, that's inspiring because that's what we want to tell people about what happened in their life and what is going on in the society, right? And what's going on in their town or their city, and they're like, oh, I didn't know this was happening in our city, and or documentaries and stories to tell to inspire people out there about what is going on, what can we do to change the country or change the community or the city. And that's the one thing about film directors or and actors and actresses, they're telling stories out there.
I completely agree with you. I think it's a very educational tool. And I think as an actor, and as a director, producer, you have this amazing tool to convey, like you said, to either make a point or just have people forget about the problems in life.
Hmm.
There's like you can go in so many different directions where you can educate, or you can just say, I'm just going to entertain, so that there's so much going on in this world right now that I just want people to forget and just to focus on what I made. So I agree 100% with you. I think that it's a fantastic tool, and I think that educating people is an amazing, amazing opportunity in general, and even just educating people in the sense of like when you make something as an artist, maybe they've never seen that before. It's something completely new. Like you see a lot of these sci-fis that I'm like, oh my God, I never even thought of that.
100%, we're making these sci-fi, well, not me, but directors and producers, they're making sci-fi movies and all this cool action films. Um, for yourself as a producer, director, and actress, is you said you have some upcoming films. How many, if you mind me asking, how many upcoming films do you have an idea this year?
I this year, see, that's the thing. I'm not sure exactly when they're gonna happen, but I have like maybe seven that I have moving forward. But I think of those usually like maybe two or three will probably get completely done. And it's all because with the economy, with how things are going, you don't know
Hmm.
exactly what's gonna happen. And things come up and things get pushed. So for now, I would say like probably a couple of films for sure. And then as an actor, that would be great. And then three or four possibly, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, of course, I can't wait to have you back on my show. I appreciate you coming on. I love interviewing um, actors and actors, producers and directors out there and let people know about you and get to know your work.
Thank you so much. I am so grateful for the opportunity, and I'm just really excited to, I was really happy to talk to you. I'm excited for what's coming up in the future, and hopefully we can talk again sometime soon.
Well, yes, please do. Your upcoming future films you mentioned, and I can't wait to. I definitely want to have you back on my show about your upcoming future films that you're coming on.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome, and thank you for. I know we've been communicating. Um, and then I feel bad because we didn't. It was my part too. We didn't know which day was good, and I lost track, and I was like, "What day did she say? Wait, this day?" And then I was like, "Oh no, it was that day." So I do apologize.
Oh no, don't at all. And you know what? Life kind of, you kind of have to, like I said, blow with the punches, and life kind of comes into play, and then things happen. So I'm good, and I'm really happy I had the chance to talk to you. That's the most important thing for me.
Yes,
And
and next time
so,
when I have you back on my show, I'll have my co-host on my show who is in Los Angeles, and we will both love to have you back and talk more about your work.
thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you so much.
You're very welcome. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay,
All right,
bye.
bye-bye.